and gentlemen, welcome back to Lucore Automotive. Well, obviously we're not at Lucore Automotive today. We are off at CIA Performance again, doing another dyno day. That is the boosted Lexi, our 500 wheel horsepower 2JZ-GE-T turbocharged Lexus IS300. We built this car for Kevin Mounts a couple of years back, before we did a lot of the YouTube stuff. And it's been a great vehicle for the last several years, but we have the spring coming up, and there's actually going to be some fun times this year, we hope. So it's over here with Dr. Eric Hargett.
Hi.
Making sure everything is copacetic and happy and healthy for the springtime. So we're going to go through everything front to back and run a couple of dyno pulls to make sure she's healthy and ready to rock and roll for springtime. So if you're interested in dyno pulls and seeing some turbo IS300 2JZ-GE-T action, this is the video for you. Stay tuned. So as I said, Kevin's been running this car for about 3 years or so now. Put several thousand miles on the car since then. He does daily driver this thing when it's nice outside. It is a very streetable vehicle. It is not a crazy race car that you cannot drive in the street. I've driven it in the snow, I've driven it in the rain, he's driven it in the rain. It works. It's got Toyo street tires on it. They're a little bit aggressive, but nothing you can't drive on the street. It's never needed a set of tires, other than the ones that he burnt off of it doing a crazy burnout. Now, if you are familiar with this car, you did see us take this car apart at the end of last year because Kevin had done some bad things to it during his Christmas burnout and blown the gasket off the bottom of the turbo and then shot flames in the engine bay, melting a bunch of wiring. So the wiring has been fixed, but as you can see here, there's a little bit of a discoloration between this cam cover and that cam cover because it was blowing flames in here. But now we do have all the wiring that's heat wrapped. We also do have a new turbo blanket on the turbo. But this is the original turbo that was on this car when we built it. It is a drift motion turbo, the whole drift motion kit. We've done a little bit of powder coating as far as beautification underneath the hood goes. But otherwise, it is essentially exactly the same car that we built years ago. Great vehicle, really, really great vehicle. But Kevin has had a lot of fun in this car. He generally learned how to drive a high horsepower stick shift car in this car, on that clutch, in that transmission. So it's not necessarily 100%, but we just want to see how close to 100% it is. He has been to multiple drag racing events. He went to the airport attack in Indy last year, and we had a great time out there. But he did do some rather aggressive launching and rather smoked the clutch at least once or twice, to the point where when he pulled back in the pits, the sound that it was making out of the clutch was quite ugly. So I drove it over here today, and it does seem like it pulls pretty well. I don't feel anything that you would normally detect as a clutch slippage, but the dyno will tell the true story. So we're going to make sure everything's good to go. Time to fire this thing up, see what happens. you're curious, that is not actually smoke that's coming out of the tailpipe. This is winter in Ohio. It's like 40 degrees outside, and that's condensation coming out of the tailpipe. See? No smoke. So don't worry, it's okay. That was a quick little pull up to like 5,000 RPMs. And we don't have the rev limit set up real high on this thing. It's like 6,500 RPMs. There's not really much of a reason to run much more than that. We start running into efficiency issues as far as our air cooling system. At around 20 pounds of boost and up that high, we could pull a couple of hundred more RPMs, but really not necessary. Sounds so good. Oh, I love that car. Well, now this is exactly why we are over here testing ourselves out. So, this is our old line, the red one. That's from last year at 492 wheel horsepower. The green line is our current one, making less power. So it does seem to be doing well here, and then it kind of falls apart. So we are actually down about 40 horse over where we were originally. So now we're at like 450 horsepower. So would be one of the reasons we probably weren't running exactly where we thought we should be running. You know, on those streets of Mexico, certain things that shouldn't be able to stand with you are standing with you. 50 horsepower could make the difference. So now it's time to figure out where our 50 horsepower went. Got about 20 of our horsies back, so that's good. Making progress. Now something some of you may ask, why do you have to redo this tune? Well, let me give you an explanation. Originally we built this car and ran it and made 500 wheel horsepower. I think it made like 502, 505, something like that, on pump gas, 93 octane. We did a race gas tune that made like 550, but we're running out of intercooler, we're running out of air. The motor and the turbo are certainly capable of doing more, but in order to run the super sneaky intercooler we have up in the front of this thing, which if you haven't seen any of the other previous build videos, go back and watch some of that. You're kind of maxing out what this thing can do. Plus it has the original throttle body, the original intake manifold, so you're shoving a ton of air through something that was designed to make like less than half this amount of power. So anyway, once Kevin did his crazy Christmas burnout and melted the wiring harness, we had to take the entire car apart to be able to do this. When we put the car back together again, we actually ended up fixing a little bit of a boost leak that had probably been there for a very, very long time. So the car, when it went back together, actually ended up making more boost and making more power. In that case, it was hitting fuel cut. So the programming that's inside this ECU is designed to protect itself so you don't just blow it up. When it sees more boost than within the range it's comfortable running, it will cut fuel to keep you from continuing to run. And that's what we were running into. Right before we went to the airstrip attack, we were running into a fuel cut issue where it would hit 20 pounds of boost, then it would go 22, 23, 24, it would hit fuel cut, and then the end of that. So Eric came over and we did a little bit of a road tune where we backed it up just a little bit in order to pull out a little bit of power so that we could make it to that event and make this thing run. Now the question is, did we pull a little bit too much out for the Airstrip Attack road tune? Because we didn't put it back on the dyno rollers. We just made sure it ran well on the street, and we didn't make sure that we had exactly the same amount of power. Or is there something else going on? In this case, we're getting our power back, so hopefully there's nothing else going on. But that's the reason that we actually end up having to retune this thing. Is almost every time when you take it all apart and put it all back together again, or if you change any singular parts, a lot of times you end up having to retune it. So that's why you need to have a tuner on staff, essentially, that can handle this and get you back in, get you back on the rollers, and get you back going. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're going to continue what we're doing. We're playing around with a bunch of different things here, and it looks like A, Kevin, the fuel that was in this is probably old, and B, you gave me like 2 gallons of gas. Not very nice for when you're going to the dyno. So we put fresh gas in it, and that brought some of our power back. Because we are in Ohio, there is such thing as a winter blend of fuels. So it seems as if maybe on winter blend we're not getting nearly as much power as we would be getting out of the summer blend. So the way we have verified that that's our issue is we have spiked the fuel with just a little bit of C16 to see if that made a difference. If that didn't make a difference, then we've got some problems somewhere else. But we put about a gallon or so of C16, gallon and a half of C16 in there.
On top of 5 gallons of 93.
Right, so we're running 30% C16, somewhere in that range. And we went from like 450, 460 to 473. And we're making it on less boost. So that's gonna be our problem, is gonna be bad fuels. So here's our graphs for today. This is where we were on the green line with the normal 93 octane, and then this is where we are now with 93 spiked with some C16. So we're getting our power back. That's where it is. It looks like, as far as all of the data and telemetry we're seeing, it's just probably bad fuels. They're just not capable of doing what we want them to do. So that's good news. So we're gonna make one more run, make sure that everything's good to go. We're gonna make a couple more adjustments, and then ship this thing. Tell you, hard to find something that sounds better than a really angry 2J. All right, so getting our timing back to where we were, because we were playing with stuff. We are back to 483. So I'm gonna dial about 1 more pound of boost into it, get it back up to 20 pounds. Should get us right back to 500 horsepower. So the answer is, why did my car not run quite as good as it wanted to? Well, it's because winter fuels in Ohio suck. That's just the answer to the question. Now, fortunately, everything seems to be perfectly fine with our IS300. We do not have a catch can set up on this car, so we will actually probably be doing a catch can setup here very shortly. Because there is a little bit of oil seepage that's coming out when everything gets pressurized. You've got a little bit of an oil leak that comes out of the valve covers. Not real serious, but a little bit. So we will be doing an oil catch can setup on this, because you can also end up with a little bit of oil blow by getting into the intake, which can, technically speaking, lower the octane of the, so that'll be coming as well. But the good news is everything seems to be testing out just fine. We do have a couple of things that we're going to actually do front end wise with this car. We're going to be doing some ball joints on the front of it, because it's needed ball joints for a while, and it's time to get that done before this thing hits a wall at 130 miles an hour. All right, so a little bit of behind the scenes-ness here. We're gonna show you the comparison between The last time this thing was here and we ran it, and it had, we think, a little bit of a boost leak versus right now on winter gas spiked with a little bit of C16. So this blue line, which you can see here, which Eric will click on and make thicker, that is the blue line from last time. Okay? So it made 492 at that point in time with our SAE corrections. Essentially, it's 500 horsepower. So that was last May. Now this thick red line is this year. This is our new tune. And you can see these two lines starting to diverge here. So it's actually coming into boost earlier and making boost better than it did before. And we're actually running a little bit less boost than we were on this blue tune than we were last year because of the fact that we had, we think, a little bit of a boost leak. As Eric and I were saying off camera, like, we essentially have like a winter tune now.
Yeah.
So not that he drives this thing much in the winter, but now you can. So it compensates for the crappy Ohio winter
Difference
tunes.
in fuel quality. Yeah.
So
Yep.
technically speaking, it cost us like what, 40 horsepower almost? 50 horsepower?
Yeah.
So there you go. Crappy Ohio gas costs you power. But the IS300 is ready to go. It's all healthy and happy and ready to go. Unhook it off the dyno, and time for me to go to lunch. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. It's been a fun experience as always over here. Eric, thank you very much, sir. We do have another car sitting back over here that you may be familiar with, which is that Mark III Supra, which also has been 2J swapped. We actually have a video coming up on that one here very shortly that's kind of a love-hate, good, bad, ugly kind of video. But that'll be coming here very shortly. And then we also have the RX-7 that you saw us do in the fall of last year over here with Eric. It's in the shop right now getting a few more add-ons done because they needed a little bit more power than what it made already. So that'll be over here as well. We've got a whole bunch of dyno stuff coming. Hopefully you guys are into this kind of thing. So thank you very much for watching as always. If you have not already clicked on that subscribe button, please do click on the subscribe button. Drop us a comment in the comment section below if you're interested in the boosted Lexi, if you're interested in the 2JZ-GE-T build or whatever. Pretty cool cars. You don't really ever see anybody go this way. Most people go 2JZ-GTE and, you know, just skip this step. But it's something that we thought was pretty cool and we still think is pretty cool. So there you go. Smash that like button as always. Lets YouTube know that you're actually paying attention. We'll see you in the next one. See ya.